From painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking, KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
KQAL 89.5. It's me, your host, Series C, and our two very special guests on today's episode of Art Beat. This last week, in terms of art news, we have been covering the Frozen River Film Festival, which takes place every February right here in Winona. Today, we are highlighting the short film Wired to Inspire, riding the Crosse Omnium. Trust me, folks, you're going to love this one. It's 10 minutes packed with heart, passion, and action. But don't take it from me, take it from the director and the producers of the film, Nicholas Kapanke and Chris Stint, who I understand is also the race director of the Crosse Omnium. Gentlemen, would you mind introducing yourselves and telling our listeners a little bit about how you came to work on this film together?
Yeah, hi, my name is Chris Stint. I am, I guess, technically a producer and the event director for the Crosse Omnium. So I had been working with the event for a little over a decade, and it's kind of a unique event, even in the cycling world. And I thought I had seen some other work that Nick had done for a different event that I've been part of called the Day Across Minnesota. And I thought it would be a really neat opportunity to capture some of the pieces of our event. There just really aren't any road bike race style, films or documentaries out there. And so I had reached out to Nick and got us connected, and that's kind of the where the idea came from.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Nicholas, how about you?
Yeah, hey, I'm Nick Kapanke. I am the director of Wired to Inspire, and I always say that I meet the best people out on gravel roads, and I'm pretty sure that's where Chris and I either crossed paths the first time in person, or certainly we're out on a gravel road somewhere together riding, even if we hadn't met. And so, Chris we got to know each other through a couple other films I made about the Day Across Minnesota, and was excited to work on the Crosse Omnium film because, one, it was a completely different venue, if you will. So I'd only done gravel cycling events in the past. So to have an opportunity to film 3 different races over 3 different days was really, really exciting. And then also I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin, and so to be able to kind of come home and make a film in my backyard was a really cool opportunity.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys came down our dirt road and we showed La Crosse in film. It's really special for all of us. We really enjoyed seeing La Crosse, and of course, it's a beautiful area. So I'm so glad that your paths were able to cross. Also, for those of us who aren't familiar with the Omnium, could you guys explain a little bit about what it is and what kind of skill and dedication it takes to participate in it?
Yeah, I can start, Nick, if that's all right with you, and you can jump in.
Please.
So it's kind of, people are usually familiar with the Tour de France. It's probably like the main bicycle race that anyone has ever heard of, and that's, 3 weeks across France and mountains and a variety of different things. But road racing in the United States looks a bit different, and so you'll find a criterium a lot of times, which is like a NASCAR type race, but it's often in a business park. There are quite a few races in the Milwaukee area called the Tour of America's Dairyland, a couple other series like that. But nobody has sort of the combination that we have where we have an uphill time trial. So you race basically from the level of the Mississippi River up a 500 or 600 foot bluff to an overlook. Wow. And then we also have the criterium, which is, like I said, the NASCAR and bikes downtown. And then we have a road race, which we have a loop out in the coulees of the La Crosse, of the Driftless region. And so it just kind of takes like a bit of a unique skill set. Sometimes riders for criteriums are like fast riders on flat surfaces. A lot of times time trialists are a special, type of rider. But you have to be a really well-rounded rider to come here and to participate. One of our claims to fame is one of the top riders in the U.S. who's currently racing in Europe and has done the Tour de France the last couple of years. Matteo Jorgensen actually came here and set the fastest time as a junior rider up on our time trial. So we really have had top level competitors, but when you ask about training or how much you have to do, anyone who rides their bike and does a bit of training can start. They have entry level categories from category 5 all the way up to the pros, and so certainly more training and the ability to ride up a bluff, multiple times is really helpful, and a lot of riding time. But you don't have to be a pro to be able to do it.
Thank you so much. I mean, I drove through the Coulee region, through those bluffs just a day ago, and those hills are no joke. It no doubt takes a lot of athletic ability to do that, I would say. Chris, what do you have to add?
Well, I would just say that, I don't know if I can add much more from a rider perspective, but from an observational perspective, I think the most important thing that was shared was anybody can do this. I mean, you have the pro category, which is incredible, and those men and women are just phenomenal athletes, incredible to watch. But then you have people from all kind of ages and walks of life out there riding their bikes, challenging themselves, and just having a great time with it. I would just hope that if anybody watches the film, they are encouraged to get on their bike, which is sort of I think the reason that I make films about bikes is I want people to get outside on their bike and just enjoy that part of life. So yeah, watch the film and get on your bike.
That's right. Watch that film and get on your bikes, folks. You hear that? Another thing I learned that I found pretty cool is that the Crosse Omnium is the only 3-day Omnium in the United States. Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a traditional format, the different races. And so you'll see a lot of other races that combine things or have, a couple road races or a criterium in a road race. But the 3-day, 3-event format is really kind of unique and doesn't really exist as much anymore in the U.S. So, yeah, we're the largest by virtue of being the one of the only events of the style.
Yep. Well, it's a pretty unique race in general. I mean, you get up close with the Coulee region, the Mississippi River, circle the bluffs, and I mean, you even ride alongside Amish buggies sometimes. I mean, where else can you get that? It's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's really the road race course is pretty wild because you go by Amish farms, Amish communities. There's an Amish bakery literally on the race course, but then you also find houses with solar panels just down the road. There's a sheep farm, and the sheep are just out in the pasture, and there's trout fishing streams that you ride along and cross. Bucolic is the word that kind of comes to mind for just how, scenic and beautiful it is.
Definitely. Something else I love about this film is that it's always in motion. It almost makes you feel like you are one of the racers as you follow the Omnicron from one place to another, and many weather conditions as well, might I add. Tell me a little bit about the filming process and how you were able to capture this race in action.
Yeah, this was actually quite a challenge because I'd been used to doing films on gravel roads where the roads are wide and there isn't much traffic. And so you have a real opportunity to be in the bed of a vehicle or even be on a bike and ride alongside the riders and film with them. And it became abundantly clear to me immediately that wasn't going to be the case in a road race. It's just too fast. Plus there's other traffic out there. So you can't put yourself in danger, nor can you put the riders in danger or slow them down in any way. And so what I always want to do is put the viewer right into the I guess the mental space of the rider. I want to be close. I want you to feel what they're feeling. I want the emotion to be captured. And so for me, that's getting right as close as you possibly can. So typically in the bed of a truck, that's a camera on a 35 millimeter lens, very close to the rider. Here, I think I had something in the neighborhood of an 800 millimeter lens. So I could be a block away and just zoomed in as far as I possibly could and try to capture those moments. But then, as you mentioned, there needs to be motion and movement. So that means getting a lot of shots from a lot of different angles so you can keep cutting and cutting and cutting, because that is what it feels like with all of those events, but particularly with the criterium. That is fast. Those people are flying by. So you just need to be bouncing around. So I just probably put on, I don't know how many steps that day, just going around the course and just filming and filming and filming. And that's fun. I mean, I want there to be pace and you want there to be energy because that's what it feels like when you're watching it, standing on the street.
Oh, definitely. Chris, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just, if you've never seen it before, like I keep saying NASCAR, but I mean the racers are shoulder to shoulder at 30 miles an hour going around 90-degree turns. If you ever have a chance, obviously the film I think is like captures it really well, but if you ever have a chance to see something like that in person, if you're inspired, I would highly recommend it because it's a really neat experience.
Well, it sure was. I certainly felt the adrenaline just watching it. Can't imagine how it felt to be out there on one of the bikes. Did the downpour affect the filming at all?
Well, no, and I did some things that you probably don't want to do. Like I flew my drone in the rain. Like that's a terrible idea, but I really thought it looked great. So I'm like, let's just see what happens. And
it did.
Fortunately, the drone survived. But otherwise, no. Actually, it's pretty funny. I basically made a makeshift raincoat out of a garbage bag, and so I just cut a hole in the garbage bag where the camera lens could be out. And I know the first couple times on the road race course when the riders saw me, all they see is this guy standing there with a garbage bag over his entire body. They have no idea what I'm doing. And I got some interesting looks the first few times until they got used to me. But so yeah, I guess it did affect the filming in the sense of garbage bag over the head and just flying the drone in the rain and hoping it all worked out.
Oh, well, you certainly got creative. You should almost make a film about that. It's so humorous. I love to hear stories like that. It's undeniable that this film is motivating and inspirational. I mean, especially to me. If audiences could take one thing away from the film, and I know you kind of touched on it already, what would it be?
Yeah, I think it's definitely that get out and ride your bike, but also Noah's story of turning pro at a point when a lot of people have already retired, I think is the great takeaway, and I think it can be applied really to anything. You're never too old to do something, and maybe you become pro at it, or maybe you just enjoy it. Step one, though, is doing. And so I think if people watch this, if they can be inspired, it's just go and do that thing that sort of is in the back of your mind and give it your all. And there'll be positive benefits that come out of that, whether you achieve to the highest level or you just satisfy yourself and you have a great time doing it. Go out and do it.
Yes, definitely. Anything else to add?
I just would say, yeah, it's anyone, anyone. If you can, anyone can learn to ride a bike and can participate. And yeah, you don't have to go out and do anything crazy. You can just go for a bike ride around town. But yeah, I hope the film inspires people to ride a bike.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, we've talked a little bit about what the audience should get from the film, but what was rewarding for you guys? What made this experience enjoyable for you?
I can start, Nick. I think Nick did such a fantastic job capturing it, and it is difficult. We're in 3 locations, and the perspective and the experience is sort of I think difficult to capture. And he just did a really good job. So I think it was I'm really, really happy with the feel of the film, because I think, yeah, it's hard to capture that. It's hard to appreciate it. You can stand on the side and watch it, and I don't always know that you capture it the same way. And so, I think it's just really neat, really well done.
Most definitely. Nick, what did you enjoy about this?
Yeah, I love the challenge of it being something different than the gravel races I had done. I loved getting to know Noah and the junior riders who I crossed paths with throughout the weekend. I thought all that was incredible, and I love films like this because when you start it on Friday, you just have no idea what's going to happen. Noah could get sick, he could crash. So many things could take place between Friday and Sunday, and I love following that path wherever it takes you. So you kind of always have a plan, and then real life throws at you what's going to happen, including rain and things like that. So I love that. That's my favorite thing about making these kind of cycling event films is that you just don't know what's going to happen, and you kind of have to harness what's going on and then let it take you where it's going to go.
Exactly. It's the unexpected that makes it a little bit fun, I guess, and a little scary depending on how you look at it. Now, for our interested listeners who didn't grab their popcorn in time for the Frozen River Film Festival, where could they catch this film in the future or even see a little bit more of your guys' work?
Great question. So right now, the film is finishing up its festival run. I'm trying to remember. We've got one coming up next month, which will be the 13th festival it will play at. We're waiting on information from 6 more festivals. So early in this year, kind of we'll know everything. After the festival run, so middle of 2026, it will be made available online. As to where, I don't know exactly yet, unfortunately, but we will make it available. And Checkpoint Zero Films is the company that is my company that puts out the Gravel film. So on Checkpoint Zero Films Facebook page, there'll be information. You can also go there and find the other films we've made. A couple of them, Delta of Spirit and The Last Dam, are available on Amazon Prime. So you can check those out there. And eventually all those will be made available for free soon. We're kind of working on that as we're wrapping up the kind of last couple films in that series.
Well, will do. We'll be sure to keep an eye out for you in the future. Chris, about you?
Yeah, no, Nick's for sure the one there, so he's got it.
All right. Well, it's so wonderful to talk to you both. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much for coming on today. It means a lot to all of us here at KQAL. Your insights into the race and the filmmaking process are so very appreciated and so very enjoyable. So how special it is to see our area captured on camera. So cool. Anyway, I wish you both all the best going forward, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. And a big shout out to Frozen River. Anytime any film can play at a festival and can have people come and see it is a real special thing for us filmmakers. So we appreciate you doing this promotion. We appreciate them putting the festival on. If listeners haven't been there, it's an incredible festival. Check it out next year and support it. They do a great job.
Entirely what he said. That was a perfect outro, actually. I'll have to keep that in there. Well, I'll let you guys go. Have a wonderful rest of your days.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Let's wish Chris and Nicholas happy trails as they ride on towards their next goal. Didn't catch their film this cycle? Well, just pedal on over to Nicholas's website at nicholaskapankey, that's with 2 Ks now, .com. Then, race as fast as you can to see the next showing of his film. Stay in the loop and catch the next Omnium at lacrosseomnium.com. We'll be happy to see you there. For more conversations on art, tune in to Artbeat Tuesdays at 12:30 right here on 89.5 KQAL. For links to podcasts of Artbeat and other KQAL original programming, go to kqal.org. That's all from me, your host, Siri C.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.